Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan. We're talking NFL football. We're into the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots. Probably the best game of the week, football-wise. Not necessarily fantasy football-wise. Not necessarily entertainment-wise. But they have fantastic coaching. They've got great quarterbacks that have been around forever and really have seen a lot. They've got really good staffs to support those quarterbacks that not a lot of people know all the names of, but it doesn't matter because they work well with the guy. So this is going to be interesting to see exactly what New England decides to do with their team moving forward post-Gronk. I think they're going to switch over to more of a power running scheme. Maybe that's just me. Maybe because the entire league's defenses are going to shrinky dinks because everybody's offense is going to spread things out. Bill Belichick's just the kind of guy to stay ahead of the curve, introduce something new. So Smash Mouth football is going to do better this year than it has done in years past. Watch it happen. But Pittsburgh's side, you got kind of the same faces outside of Antonio Brown. So Antonio Brown's absence does shift things. Let's see if Juju Smith-Schuester can be a real number one, Let's see if James Conner can stay healthy during the year and they don't ride him until all the tread falls off the tire like they did last season. I actually think Pittsburgh wins this. It's going to be tight, but New England really hasn't figured out who they are quite yet. And we certainly haven't figured out who New England is quite yet, especially on offense. And that's enough for me to give the nod to Pittsburgh, who's, even with the loss of Antonio Brown, more of a safe bet for what we think they're going to be. Their defense did much better late last season. I expect them to carry that momentum into being a fantastic defense against New England in this game. And without the matchup nightmare that is Gronk, Brady might actually be vulnerable. So it'll be interesting to watch, but again, I've got Pittsburgh by a field goal in this one. I would say guaranteed start is James Conner, fantasy football-wise. Juju Smith-Schuster is the number one wide receiver for Ben Roethlisberger. So, yeah, start both of those guys. Tom Brady, probably not going to be a fantasy start. I mean, he's a good backup, but not a fantasy start this year. We don't know what running back is really going to carry the load in New England. The odds are on Sony Michel, but there's a lot of names in that room, and it can change. Edelman's the only receiver there that's really worth it right now, but even then, he's borderline. So New England really doesn't have a lot of good fantasy plays. Pittsburgh really does. So again, for me, that's one more thing pointing towards them winning.